Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Lee Grant and welcome back to another video where we are trying to build projects to improve our skills and find those topics which are important to becoming a back-end software engineer. So today I think is a super exciting video is that we are now going to take the project that we've been working on that is Node.js, that's the server side, and we're able to process requests from the client, so that's on the actual website page. We send a path to the Node.js, get that handler, create the handler, but we need to now be able to store that data. All right, so here we go. Here comes the actual database. So one of the questions is like, okay, well, which one do we use? So there can be, let's see, there's SQL and NoSQL databases. I'm not exactly sure which one we want to use, and I'm thinking. So this kind of goes back to the question of what are we doing this project for? Is it to be, number one, is it to build something actually useful? No, not at all. That's not our point in this project whatsoever. Our point in this project is to learn skills that we think are valuable. So, do I want to do a SQL database or do I want to do a NoSQL database? Well, it depends on what we want to learn. And to be honest, I think we're going to do both. Maybe we first try out an SQL database or a NoSQL database, and then maybe swap it, right? Like, see if we can store data in the other one. And then that will also give us some insight into, like, oh, okay, well, I did it in SQL and then I did it in NoSQL. Which one was easier? What are the advantages and disadvantages? And I think it will be a nice juxtaposition between the two uh, database types if we implement both of them on the exact same project, on the exact same data, and to perform the exact same role, right? It will really enforce in us like what is the difference because as of right now I don't even know. I have no idea. I know SQL is what structured query language I think it's called, and I remember something about I never took a databases class, but I remember when Susie was taking a database class, I kind of overheard some of her lectures. And I remember you have like a schema and you're able to have like one to many, many to one, many to many, something about this like ERT, like diagrams. We need to investigate this. We need to learn what's going on here. I feel like this is a very big topic. There's also like database management, database like how you set up the database, and then there's how you just use it. So we're gonna start to investigate what's going on here, and this might be a multi-videoed uh, endeavor right here. So I feel like the landing point that we got on this project here, on that one, we've gotten the project to a state where, okay, we kind of understand what it's doing, how it's working, and we have the client and server that are able to communicate with each other. We know how it's doing that, and we know how to manipulate it and make it more advanced and stuff like that. So, okay, cool. Now let's kind of do the same thing for a database. And just like when we started the Node.js, this project, we didn't really know how the components were interacting together. Same thing here is I don't really know how the database works. I don't know what we're going to do with the database or how we're going to use it, but we're just going to try, right? And there's no, like, the worst thing that you can do is just do nothing because you're scared of failing at it. So let's just load this back up and let's go. So I now want to add a database base to my Node.js project to store data that users give to me in a post request. And see, now we know, so we don't know how to do this. Okay, we don't know how to do this, but now we're on, I think will be like number 8 or something like this. The 8th video in this series. Now that we're on video number 8, we know like every single word in here. A Node.js project to store data that a user gives in a post request. Like we know exactly how that works, exactly what that's going to do, and how to build from there. So, okay, I want to be able to do this. How would you suggest that I set up my database? All right, so just like what we did last time, what we're going to do is we're going to see how it responds and see what it suggests. And then from that, we're going to try to get a golden copy. So what I mean by golden copy is a project, or get it to the state where it works. Get something that works, okay? If we're able to get something that works, we can then back engineer and figure out, okay, I don't know how it works, but I know it is working. Then we go and investigate, how is it working? We go and analyze every single line that we wrote, and we just keep pounding at it, keep investigating, going deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and trying to find those points that we don't understand. So let's just try to get a working copy, something working. All right. So, great move! Setting up a database will allow you to store, retrieve, and manage user-submitted data effectively. Here's how you can approach it. Step number 1, choose a database. So, it's suggesting MongoDB, which is NoSQL, okay? Best for flexible data, documents, okay? So, Postgres or MySQL. This is SQL. So it's giving us 2 options. You can do the NoSQL or you can do SQL. So best for structured data like tables, or SQLite, which is lightweight local database. If your project needs scalability, MongoDB with Mongoose is a great option. Okay, so and I think that, so, I mean, the initial thing that we were going to do was like a smart inventory system. So thinking like what would make sense in this context. So let's see. Do we want to do MongoDB? Sure. I guess let's just do MongoDB because this is what it suggests. And then later we'll go to actual SQL. So, all right, if you're using MongoDB, install Mongoose. Actually, let's just ask it, like, what's the difference between SQL and NoSQL? So what is the difference between SQL and NoSQL? What does this difference look like to me as the backend server developer? So, and then we'll come back up to this if we decide that we want to do MongoDB. Oh, okay, so they also show us how to do the other ones. Okay. So, SQL versus NoSQL. What's the difference? SQL and NoSQL databases differ in how they store, structure, and query data. As a backend server developer, this impacts how you interact with, scale, and optimize your data. So SQL, structured query language. Hey, I got it. Wow, I'm actually kind of surprised that I pulled that one out of my brain. So table-based. So SQL is table-based, which means row and column. Predefined schema, strict structure. Okay. Uses SQL for queries. Select star. So again, from overhearing Susie's lectures, I remember select is what you want to select from. So that's like the table or something. So, or maybe the row. And star means all. No, from is, I think this is the table. So select, and this is the pattern. So select all from this where ID equals 1. Okay. Acid compliant. Strong consistency and transactions. Okay, so example, MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite. Okay. How does it look from a developer? You define tables, orders, users, etc. Query involved joins, okay, to link data. Data integrity is enforced via foreign key and constraints. Okay, so I remember foreign keys are how one table, you have primary keys, which is like the identifier. So you have a primary key which is unique to every single entry in that table. So that table is going to have a whole bunch of entries, and you have a primary key which is unique to every single one of those entries. And then you can connect entries to other entries in a different table based on foreign keys. So something like, I remember hearing about that. So create, all right, so this is how we actually create a table. So like create table users, ID int primary key. So this is creating a table called users, and it has the attributes or the columns, I guess, of ID, name, and email. So ID is an int. This name is a varchar, which should be string, and I think this 255 is the maximum number of characters which you're allowed to have. Email, varchar 255 unique, so I think the unique enforces a rule that, hey, every email needs to be unique. And then also we have that this is the ID field is the primary key. All right, so let's now go and look at the NoSQL. All right, NoSQL. Not only SQL databases. Oh, that's what it. Wait, hold on. Not only SQL. I thought it was no, like, no. I thought it was no SQL. Okay, it means not only SQL. I didn't know that. Anyways, let's, okay. So flexible schema. Okay. JSON, key value, graph, etc. So horizontally scalable. Better for big data and distributed systems. Fast read writes, okay, great for real-time applications, doesn't rely on SQL, uses custom queries or based APIs. So MongoDB. So I've heard of MongoDB a lot. I haven't heard of these other two. How it looks to you as a developer. You store data as documents, JSON-like, instead of rigid tables. Queries are more flexible using object-based searches. You handle relationships inside documents, reducing join dependencies. Okay. So, example of a MongoDB uh, entry or what? Okay. So, let's see. This isn't so. Uh, I see how it's like a JSON object, right? Like ID one, email or name, Alice, email Alice at example.com, orders is all of this. Okay. And we're not declaring it like ID is an int and this is the primary key or any of that. We're just kind of like saying ID is 1. Okay. How does this affect you? So SQL better for transactional apps like banking, e-commerce, reporting. No SQL better for dynamic apps like social media, real-time analytics. All right, so let's I don't know, let's just pick MongoDB and develop what we can on it and learn what we can from it and then continue to play around with both MongoDB and the other one, which was like MySQL. So right now, let's just do this MongoDB. I guess I will use MongoDB. How can I set this up? Okay. All right. So, brew install MongoDB community. All right. So, I guess immediately the first question that I have is if it's inside of my node project, do I need to install it on my local? Let me just try doing this. npm install here. So I think I actually might have already installed it. Where would that be? .env here. MongoDB, I think I've already installed it. So, I guess to test it out, I can try importing that library. So, let's try that. So, import MongoDB from Mongoose. Okay. Should we just run it? So node mon server.js. Let's see if it crashes. It didn't crash. And then import something from nonsense. Does it crash? Okay, yes, it does crash. So good. That kind of means that I do have Mongoose, I think. Right? Are we all good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, so now .config. So we have this there. Mongoose connect process. Okay. So we have that there, creating a model. create a file called database.js for database connections. Okay. So this is going to be in a separate file. Set up environment variables. I think we already did that. I think Node.js already took care of that. Okay, define a schema to store user submitted data. Okay, so where is this? Under models user.js. Okay. So right now I'm just looking at how it's suggesting I do this, and then later I will actually try to put it into my project, and then even later we will try to understand what's happening and what's going on. Right now we're just trying to get a golden copy. Something that works. Okay, so store data from post request. Okay. Oh, and here we go. We have these awaits now. So we get to learn about how JavaScript deals with awaits. Awesome. Register the route in here in server.js. Okay. Let's do that. Let's create this. So connect node.js to MongoDB. Okay. Maybe in source? Or do we do it here? It wouldn't be a route, so I don't think it's there. It wouldn't be a view, so I don't think it's there. I guess we can do it here. So db.js, okay. And then I want to take all of this and just copy and paste it into here. Okay. We'll figure out if it works later. So I'm just taking it on blind faith that it works. Okay. We already did that. And now in models user.js. So we have source. Where I guess I don't have models. So where did it want me to do that? So models user.js. Okay. So I create something called models. Okay. Now within models, I create users.js. Okay. And then we put this in here. Okay. Now, inside of routes, so routes, user routes, create an express route to handle submissions, okay? And I see import user from models user.js. So this gives me an indication where I need to put it, right? And where routes needs to be. So, or in relation, where user.js needs to be in relation to routes, which routes is a known location. So I need to have, so this, I go from routes, I go up a directory, then I'm at models. So from routes, which is here, okay, I go up one directory and I'm in source. Now in source, there's it's supposed to be models. So models is actually going to be part of this source. Yes, move. Okay, so now I'm in routes. I create a new folder called what, user, what do they call it? User posted.js. I can change that name. but I'm pasting this in here. Okay. What was the name? User routes.js. Okay. Rename. Okay. User routes.js. So from here, from user routes, I go up one directory. I'm in routes. Or sorry, I go up one directory. I'm in source, and then I go to models, and then I go to user.js, and I import that. And I think that will work right there. Okay. Now app.use users and then calls this this route. Okay. Wait, hold on. Waiting file changes before starting. Did we already have one called users? No. So why did that just crash though? User routes. User routes is not defined. Okay, we need to actually just import. Okay. So at the top, okay, this I guess is a good thing for me to kind of remind myself is, and I'm actually just going to get rid of all of this code. We don't need that anymore. Okay. So in this JavaScript project, when we import something, we're bringing that kind of entity or object into our world, right? So this server.js, this file, I'm bringing in. Oh, and this also will give me more information, make sure that all of my paths are in the correct location, because I know where server.js is, and this is another path, so it kind of helps me make sure that everything is in the right spot. So it tells me where, or it brings this user routes to me. So now I know that this object exists, and I'm able to call it. So it's just like the normal. It feels different than the normal libraries in like C or Python, because normally you just have a whole bunch of functions, and then you just call that, or you just import that library, and you gain access to all those functions. But in this, we are actually like, in JavaScript, you do like export, and you export an object. Like here, it says export default router, right? And this kind of puts it to here, and it just feels different. It feels strange. And I also want to know, I guess I'm not using this mongoose in this particular instance, so I think I can just do that. Okay, and let's see if things work. Let's see if we got a crash. So it still crashed. Does it not like this? So in my current directory, okay, so in my current directory, go to routes. Shouldn't I go to source? Let me, src. Did that solve it? Source routes user.js. Did that solve it? I'm not sure. Users. Okay, I'm just, I guess, user or users. cannot do get users. All right, so I think I put the stuff in that GPT told me to. Now we need to try to glue things together and get it working. So I imported this, right? And it should be a post request. And when I sent the thing from the browser just now, that is a get, right? So now I need to send a post request to submit. Actually, I'm going to call this submit data. Submit, what do we want? Submit Mongo. Mongo, okay? Okay, so now I think we need to add another entity, like another web page, like a get endpoint. See, a good thing we set things up the way that we did. Now we know how to add a new endpoint, how to give a user a web page so that they can fill out information and that be sent to a as a post. So we kind of have an idea of what we need to do, and it's actually really good practice for us to do so. Okay, how are we going to do it? So from server, what do I want to do? I want to do a app.get at what endpoint? DB test. Okay. And then I am going to have a request and a response. And that is going to go into this. And what do I want to do? I want to render a web page, right? So I want to do response.render. And what do I want to render? I want to render an EJS file, right? I believe that's how we did it. Yeah, so I just type in what I want here. So Mongo DB test EJS. Okay, I'm going to call it this. Now, from within here, I need to go into views, which is where all of my EJS files are, and I need to create a document called this here. So I'm going to go into views, okay, come here, do this, and then .ejs, okay. Now from here, I need standard normal EJS like this, but we want it in we want a form, right? So let's go copy this one, paste it into here, and then let's look at this form here. Oh, that's very different actually. Okay. So form equals so we already looked at this in our last video, but it's good to be able to get a refresher. So let's go through this. I guess we don't want this. So we want form. Okay, we want form. This. And then give this form an ID. Okay. I want to be able to quickly like go back and forth. Okay, so give the form an ID. ID is DB form. I really don't know. Okay. Input. So this is, we're creating a field. So let's create a field. Let's do input. Okay. Okay, so that's actually kind of strange. Sometimes it's open, keyword, close. Sometimes it's just one thing. Like this entire thing is just one thing, and it's not input, input. I guess it's because it's one element, and there's nothing nested inside of it. Okay. So input, and now type is text, ID. Okay, so type, what do we want? We want text. Okay. And now, is it separated by commas? It's just separated by spaces. How strange. ID is equal to I don't know. Input data. Sure. Okay, placeholder. I don't need a placeholder right now. So now we're gonna create a button that creates, or that like takes in the data that's on that text element. So we come here and do button, okay, and then ID is equal to button element, and then submit your info here. Okay. Now I remember we do on click, and then the function that we want to call, and we need to create that JavaScript function. So submit data. Do we actually do that? I think we do. That looks right. And then we create a script, right? Like this. And now we just write normal JavaScript. So I want to declare a function called submit data. Okay. Like this. So things are looking right. Now, okay. Let username equal document get element by ID. So now we're trying to grab that information. So let X, I can't think of a name right now. Be equal to document. So document is like self. So self dot, was it body or no, get element by ID. So I'm getting the element. Which element am I getting? It's the ID of, so the data which is in this input data as the ID right there. Here, and then dot value gets the value from it. Is value like a function? No, it's not. It's just dot value. Okay. then JavaScript has a fetch function, and I remember fetch took in multiple data points, but I forgot what it was. I think this is where we actually send data, like the location we want to send data to. So I believe it was, we have to go like this. And now where do we want to send, because this fetch is going to actually perform a request, either a get request or a post request. We want to do a post request. That's the entire point of why we're creating all of this document, or all of these, or this web page, not web page, but like endpoint. Well, it is a web page. It's a page that the user is able to interact with. And then we're doing this specifically because we want the user to be able to send data, and we capture that in this, where was it? Here. This post request here to submit Mongo. So this is where we want to send data to. Now, my question is, I think that there's actually more to it. I think we need to do this, like users here. I believe we have to go like this. Like users, and then submit Mongo, because I think what happens is when it sends data to the server, which is me, it's going to come to this server.js, it's going to come to this users here, and then Express is going to take that URL, take away the users, then send the rest of the URL to this user routes, which comes here, and then it has to match with this submit Mongo. I think that's what's going on. Okay, so now new user equals request body. So we need to kind of match up the data. Okay. So it's a fetch request, right? And then we had other attributes, and it was like this, and I think we called it like method. I think we had one that was like method here, and then post, okay, and then method post. I'm gonna try to copy how, not there, where to go here. Okay, so yeah, method post headers. Content type. Okay, fine. Headers here. It's like this. Just gonna copy and paste that. Content type. Okay. Like that. And now body. Okay, so now body. Now, when I was here, I saw that it says user, and then we have the request. So we're able to get the data from request, which is going to, we're going to take the request. It's kind of like we're doing both things from different sides. So I am developing the web page, and the web page has a body, right, in the post request. And now on the server side, I'm going to be capturing that and say, okay, great, this body, in this body, that's going to be new user. And then we're going to save it. Okay. So body, and what do I want in my body? I want to have a JSON file. So was it JSONify or something? Where'd it go? JSON, stringify, and then this. Okay, so JSON dot stringify here, and then we want this X right there. But let's not call it X. Let's call it user name. And I'm purposefully making it kind of like different. If you notice, I'm doing some with the underscore, some with the capitalization, and I'm doing that on purpose because I want to make sure that I understand exactly what's calling what, where it's getting information from, and I want to know, like, this specific thing is connected to this specific thing up here. Username, okay? And it's not some other username that I declared in some other place that it works magically. And I don't know why, because it's grabbing from somewhere and I think, oh great, it's working. It's from here. No, but it's actually from somewhere else. So I'm purposely making the names all like that. Okay, so username. And now I believe that means that this is going to come there. Okay. Do I need to do the dot then? Response. Okay, let's try to do that. Okay, so what is it going to be? Dot then. So I'm going to send a request, a post request to this user routes, and then I'm going to get a status, right? Like, and it should send back to me either error saving data or this data saved. It's going to send one of those two requests to me. I want to be able to capture that and display it. So dot then, okay. What happens? Response, and I want to change it into text. So I'm going to get some response, and I want it to go into, how do they do it? Response.text. .text. Okay, so I think what this line is doing is I call this function and I do a post request. From that, I get a response back. I take that response after it occurs, and that is the input here to this function. And the return value is this right here. So I take the input, I put it to the .text method, and I get something back, and then that's my response. Now from there, I'm able to chain another, oh, where'd it go? Dot then right here. So we're going to do the same thing. Dot then right here. And what is the input? The input is going to be this, a text thing. So server response text. And I'm purposefully making this name so that it's clear where things are coming from. I got some text. And what do I want to do? I want to log it. Okay. So I'm going to say, yeah, alert. And now I say the response is like this, and then what was that? Plus should be this exact thing right there. Like that. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I'm a little bit nervous to actually put this in because I don't know if it's gonna work, but let's try it. Let's do this MongoDB test. here. We come here, here. Okay. Okay, so we got this. Let's say Timothy Lee Grant. Okay. Submit my info here. Bam. I did not get some alert. So that's suspicious. Okay. I did not get an alert. Here, here. So before this send, I'm gonna do a console.log inside of post handler. Okay. Inside of fail post handler. Okay. And then I'm going to do, I don't need this one. User routes, okay, user routes here. Let's try it one more time. Let's come here. So where am I? At this test, okay. Come here. Timothy Grant. Submit. Let's see if I, so I'm not logging anything. So I don't know why. Okay, inside of fail post handler. Okay, so we failed here. So we did call this post, which is partially a success. It actually is partially a success because it means that we were able to create our endpoint as the web page. That endpoint did send something, and it did hit this route. What I'm guessing is that there's some problem with how we set up our database, or we did something wrong. And I am curious, like, I didn't use this function, I think. I don't think I called this. Could that be a problem, right? Like, I didn't call that actual thing. So here's this, but I never called this thing. So Mongoose Connect. Did I export it? Submit it. I didn't do this either, did I? Yes, I did. I created that. So, okay. I think I am going to leave it here for right now because it's almost midnight, so I might leave it here and then try to troubleshoot it tomorrow and see if I can figure out what the error is. I'm guessing, my guess is that it's going to be something to do with new Mongoose schema here, but I don't feel like, again, I don't feel like I actually did anything with the database. So, how did I interact with the db.js file? I don't see it connected to anything else in the project. Okay. Server.js. So in my server.js, I come up here and let's just try this. So in the current directory here, whoa, okay, so a lot, what just happened here? Warning, new user ID is a deprecated, has no effect since, okay, so I did something, I don't know, just because I want to try it. Let's see. Come here. Timothy Grant. Submit here. Not getting an alert. Okay. Oh, wow, okay. So we're just gonna copy and paste this. And then copy this. And then copy this. And then copy this and see if it can just identify anything. Okay, return means MongoDB isn't running on your application, is unable to connect. Here's how to fix it. Okay, so let's try this. So let's, do I need to get out of this here? Looks like MongoDB isn't installed or isn't accessible from your terminal. Here's how to fix it. Okay. So maybe we do need this. Unknown services. Error unknown. Since brew services isn't working, try installing it with. Since brew services isn't working, try installing it with brew. It's like, well, isn't that what you just said isn't working? Let's see. Okay, well, this looks a little bit more promising. Okay. Wait, what? Brew services, and then brew install, okay. But it still doesn't have that. After installation, verify it's installed. Brew list. here. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna have to try to figure this out later. Tomorrow. Um, I think there might be a misunderstanding on like what Mongo is, where it needs to go, how I need to interact with it. So I'll be leaving this video off right here, and then in the next video I will be trying to troubleshoot it and continue to get the golden copy, and then from the golden copy to try to get a understanding of how things are working. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it and want to come along with this journey of trying to improve your skills as a back-end software engineer, subscribe and have a wonderful rest of the day. My name is Timothy Lee Grant, and I'll see you tomorrow.